Fire away, guys.
Coach, when you were playing back here in 1997, did you ever think you'd be elected into the Hall of Fame for this game?
I really did. At that time when you're playing, you're just trying to play as good as you can and prepare as good as you can and try to make a good impression on the NFL scouts and coaches that are there. And you never know what your journey and your path's going to be on. And sometimes, like now, when you get inducted into the Hall of Fame, it makes you think back to that experience. And it was an awesome week, when you're surrounded by some of the best players in the country, best coaches in the NFL. And to be a coach now, and now I look at it from a little different lens, it's pretty special. I know it's a special time for those guys.
Can you speak on the importance of bowl games like this, like the Senior Bowl, and what they do for NFL hopefuls?
Well, I think these games, these bowl games, these all-star games are huge because it's part of your interview process, but also as part of your resume. In that, the coaches are really analyzing just about everything that the players are doing, whether it's how attentive they are in meetings, how well they can retain information from the meetings to the practice field, the effort in which they practice, the extra work they put into practice, all of those things. Are they early to meetings? Are they late to meetings? And so they're starting to build that resume on you. And so these are very, very important, but also to showcase the skill set that you have as a player at whatever position you're in.
Coach Jatavian Sanders is obviously from the Metroplex. How are you coaching him up on a situation like this? Can you speak to what he has to offer for the NFL?
Well, JT's a great player. Naturally he's got a lot of God-given talent, but he's got great work ethic. He's extremely competitive. He's got a high football IQ. I think these experiences for him as he's getting ready for the draft, naturally, he has an opportunity to be a real playmaker at the NFL level. But again, all those same things, the interview process, how that goes about it, I think is going to be big for him as he's getting prepared for the draft.
Coach, say about Jonathan Brooks, he was your starter for one full season, had the injury. How would you assess sort of his resume entering the NFL?
Well, I love Jonathan Brooks. He had a great season for us this year. Naturally it was tough to see him get injured, but by all accounts, the NFL still really likes him. And in today's medicine and science, these guys are coming back as good or better than ever. He's a really mature guy. He's got a great work ethic. He's a very versatile back. And so I'm excited to see where he lands and then what the future holds for him.
And Coach, with Ryan Watts is someone we've got the chance to watch in practice this week. What do you hope NFL teams get to know about him both on and off the field?
Well, I think one thing that I hope they're finding out about Ryan is the versatility, right? I mean, for us, he played corner. He might have been the biggest corner in the country. I know he's worked at some safety some here this week. So that versatility as a player who has size and speed, but yet has the work ethic and drive and the motivation to play multiple positions. The NFL is always looking for that, right? You only have so many guys on your roster, so if you have players that can do multiple things, that creates a good advantage for him that way.
Steve, how do you balance recruiting against the portal and the demands of each?
Well, I think for us it's pretty simple. We want to recruit high schools. That's what we want to do. We want to exhaust ourselves in the high school, and we want to get players into our program that get in our culture, get developed by our coaches and our staff, work their way up, and then perform. What the portal provides us is an opportunity to fill immediate needs when immediate needs arise. We lost 3 really good receivers this year. A few other guys went into the portal. We ended the season with only 3 scholarship receivers. So we had to sign 4 out of high school. Then we had to go get another 3 in the portal just to kind of get our numbers back right. So we use the portal to address needs. But again, I think everybody looks at the portal differently from team to team. That's just kind of our approach to it as we move forward.
Coach, when you were a quarterback playing here in the Shrine Bowl, have you ever imagined taking the path you have to being the head coach at Texas?
No.
Let's talk about
but
that.
I don't know if anybody coming out of high school, I think we all have hopes and dreams and aspirations, right? And as we grow, I don't know if anybody's path always is exactly what they thought it was going to be. And at that time, I wanted to be Joe Montana. Quite frankly, that was my idol, and that's who I wanted to be. And in the end, I'm trying to be like Mac Brown and Darryl Royal, So you never know the journey that you get on. But I do think these experiences help shape me to be the head coach that I am today. And so I'm very appreciative of the opportunities that I got through college, post-college, by some of the coaches that hired me along the way, because they helped shape kind of how we go about our business today and my relationship with our players that we have today.
And now as you look forward, you had some time, of course, to work under Coach Saban. What kind of opportunity do you see to build a dynasty at Texas?
Well, dynasty takes multiple, and we need to get one first, right? That's our challenge. We've got to try to go get one, and the challenge is a big one. With moving to the SEC, the new expanded college football playoff. So there's challenges along the way. But like I've always said, I didn't come to the University of Texas just to say I'm the head coach at Texas. I came here to win championships. We got a conference championship last year, which was a tremendous honor and pump that we were able to do that. But there's more out there for us to go do. And I think we've built a program that is more than capable of doing that on a yearly basis. But as I said at the beginning, it's hard to be a dynasty if you don't have one, right? We need to get one first and then go from there.
Having three of your players here, how does it make you feel as a coach to know that Texas is kind of at that level where you're getting the NFL attention again?
Well, it's pretty good. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. In our first year here, we had a 5-7 football team and we had no players drafted. In our second year here, we went 8-5 and we had 5 players drafted. In our third year, we're 12-2, conference champs, college football playoff, and I could see us having 10, 11 players drafted. So I think we're doing things the right way. We're developing our players. We're recruiting the right type of kids, character and skill set. And so for these guys to have these opportunities, it's really awesome.
Coach, why were you when you share a story like that pick six, how important is that to show guys you can set them?
Yeah, no, I say those things sometimes jokingly. I'm pretty good at making humor out of some tough times, but point being, like, football is the best way to kind of look at life, right? If you just look at the game of football, and as the game goes, the adversity that we get faced with in game, a turnover by a quarterback, a cornerback getting beat deep on a go ball, a tackle giving up a sack, a fumble by the running back. But the game's not over, right? You still have to continue to play, and you've got to get refocused, recalibrated, trust your training, trust the people that are around you, do your job. Sounds a lot like life, right? Life presents adversity to us as well, but how do we get back up and then continue that journey? And so hopefully that gives a little bit of just kind of a nugget of, man, we can overcome a lot in life. And an interception to a defensive lineman might seem small, but as you get on the other side of that and you keep playing and maybe you throw a touchdown, that can serve in life too, that we can overcome a lot and keep moving forward.
You worked for two legends who just retired. One was kind of negotiated the deal there. What was it like to see Pete Carroll and Nick Saban leave those two programs?
It was pretty wild. In the same day, really in the same day. Definitely some reflection there, because without those two men, I wouldn't be here today as the head coach of the University of Texas. So I'm very grateful, thankful, humbled, honored, all of those things. I've spoke to them both that day, and I was celebrating them. I was congratulating them, quite frankly, on just a tremendous career that both of them have had, the impact that they've had on our game. Not only at the collegiate level, but at the professional level. In my opinion, there's been, my era of coaching, there's been 3 of the greatest coaches of all time, and they're 2 of the 3. When you look at Nick Saban, Pete Carroll, and Bill Belichick and what they've been able to accomplish, and I got to work for 2 of them, and 2 of them got to be mentors for me. So hopefully I can lean into some of the wisdom that they gave me and find myself winning a few more games because of that experience.
Did they have anything to say to you about what you did at Texas this year?
Not much, no. No, I mean, they just, congratulations, things of that nature. Got a chance to watch us play and had a good team and so on and so forth. But my goal is that we can play in some big games down the road, and that those two guys will come and support us and support what we're doing, because I think that's part of leaving a legacy is other coaches that have worked for you, what have they gone on to do. So now that they have a little bit more time on their hands, hopefully they can come down to Austin and watch us play, come to practice, and if we can get into a couple big games down the road, that they can come to those as well.
Coach,
What did Nick about beating him his last time in Tuscaloosa?
No, I did not.
Coach, what type of boost have you seen the SEC move bring in recruiting, especially here in the DFW?
Well, obviously our brand is pretty strong, right? And especially in the state of Texas. And so, one of the knocks historically on Texas was they weren't in the SEC. So on an elite player, here comes Alabama, here comes Georgia, here comes Ohio State, here comes Texas. Well, you always look at what are people going to use against you in recruiting, and one of them was, well, they're not in the SEC. You're not going to play in the best conference. And so we've kind of taken that one away now. They can't really use that against us anymore. But again, we've got a pretty good brand, and we've got a pretty good history and tradition of players who've come out of the DFW and have done great things at UT. And so I don't think that's gonna change in the near future, but we do spend a lot of time and efforts in this area recruiting.
Coach,
why were you a good person to talk these players today?
Well, I think I've got a pretty good story. I wasn't the most highly recruited guy out of high school. I was a junior college kid. I'm not the most physically gifted guy in the room. I wasn't the tallest, biggest, fastest, strongest. My path, my journey in playing the game was a little bit uncommon. I didn't get drafted. I went and played in the CFL. But in the end, those relationships that I made in my time here in this game, most notably with Pete Carroll, opened a door for me into my future career that got me to where I am today. And so, mine and Steve Smith's stories are totally different. But in the end, I think we both can say, man, we've been pretty successful at what we've done, and we both kind of, part of our journey has been right here with the East West Shrine Game.
What excites you most about getting to make one more run with Quinn?
Quinn's a great player. Obviously he's a really good leader. I think that we've seen steady growth from him from year 1 to year 2. I think we'll continue to see good growth out of him from year 2 to year 3. But I think that a quarterback's always a byproduct of all the people around him, offensive linemen, receivers, the defense, special teams, the coaching staff. So we're pretty well aligned. We're on solid footing as a program, and feel like we got a really good team coming back. All right, y'all. Thank you.